The long, sweeping hook shape of Hawke Bay is important in both Māori and European discovery stories of New Zealand. Cape Kidnappers was named Te Matau-a-Māui, or the fishhook of Maui, by Māori. According to tradition, Maui was a mischievous man blessed with magical powers. One of his great feats was to fish up the North Island with his magic fishhook. Armed with his special hook, Maui hid in the departing canoe of his brothers. He did not reveal himself until it was too late for his brothers to turn back. Maui used his new hook to snag a massive fish. After an epic tussle and almost capsizing the canoe, the Fish of Maui, known as Te Matau-a-Māui, finally surfaced. The North Island is still known to Māori as Te Matau-a-Māui. The English names Hawke Bay and Cape Kidnappers were given by Captain James Cook when he visited New Zealand in 1769 on board the Endeavour. Hawke Bay was named after Sir Edward Hawke, the First Lord of the Admiralty. Cape Kidnappers was the site of an unsuccessful kidnap attempt when the Endeavour was anchored offshore. A crew member, a Tahitian boy, was seized by Māori who had approached the Endeavour apparently to trade. Crew members shot at the canoe as it made a getaway, which enabled the boy to jump into the sea and escape. Despite the boy being successfully retrieved, the name Cape Kidnappers stuck. It is now home to a large colony of Australasian gannets. Māori call gannets tākapu. They caught young gannets for food and the adults for their bones and feathers. Bones were used for chisels and to apply elaborate facial tattoos, or moko. The highly prized white feathers were used to decorate canoes and were worn by chiefs. With its 2-metre wingspan, golden head and dramatic plunging dives, the gannet is an easily identified seabird. Gannets usually breed in colonies on offshore islands. However, in 1880, a New Zealand naturalist, Henry Hill, noted that about 50 gannets had started breeding on an elevated headland at Cape Kidnappers. The area was protected as a reserve in 1915, and the gannet population steadily increased. By the late 1990s, there were 6,500 breeding pairs on the Cape. Until the 1980s, Cape Kidnappers remained the only mainland gannet colony in New Zealand. Gannets have interesting migratory habits. When the chicks are only 4 months old, they suddenly take off to the east coast of Australia, nearly 3,000 kilometres away. They do this by themselves and without any previous flight practice. The journey takes between 8 and 14 days, depending on the weather and wind direction. Although ungainly on land, gannets are magnificent in flight. When searching for food, they fly parallel to the coast, then plunge headlong to kill their prey. They can enter the water at around 150 kilometres an hour, relying on inflatable air sacs around their neck and chest to absorb the shock of impact. Australasian gannets are protected by law, and the New Zealand population is in a healthy state. However, gannets are susceptible to the effects of oil spills, and birds have been caught in set nets and on the lines of recreational fishermen.